welcome back to the channel. I am super glad to have you guys here today. It has been a while. A lot's happened. I went on a work trip, I got a tattoo, and just, life. Been busy with work, life, everything else going on. Got a new car. So many things have happened in the last month and a half whenever I last talked with you guys. But I'm really excited to be here today with you. Today we're in the SWS Kodiak 100 in Idaho Air Service colors. And we're going to be making a flight from McCall, Idaho to a place called Hogsback Ranch. It's newly released by Parallel 42. Once again, if you want to know any of the add-ons and modifications I use in any of my videos, go down to the description. You're going to have to do some scrolling because it's usually at the very bottom. But there'll be at least the name of everything I use, and there should be a link to all the mods that I use in each video. And with that, we are picking up some icing here sitting on the ground, so I want to run into the FBO here, have the ground crew get rid of this ice for us, and then we're going to get on our way because we have like a 3-hour flight ahead of us. Alright, so we ran to the FBO, we got all the ice removed, and we got our passengers loaded up. So let's go ahead and shut our door. Let's get that rear door shut as well. And we can hear it closed. We'll go ahead and close our window. And we're going to run through this checklist kind of fast because we keep icing up on the ground and we want to get off the ground without any ice. If you do want to see a more in-depth tutorial on how to start the aircraft, I will put a link probably right up here. Could be up here. Probably top right though. I'll put a link. You can check out my full tutorial video I have on the Kodiak. So looking at our before start checklist, let's close that cup holder. We got our fuel shutoffs to green and on. I'll go ahead and lock our seats in. That one's locked. Come down here. Everything's off except for the nav lights, and the bypass is on because we'll need it because of how cold it is. The firewall shutoff is pressed in. Flaps are up. We got idle, feather, and cutoff and normal, so that's good. Running through here. All the circuit breakers on the bottom look good when we push those up, and our parking brake is set. Actually, I'll leave that off for now. Go ahead, flip the master switch on. I'm going to shimmy over to the middle for startup. We're going to hit enter so we can see all of our info. The fuel pump's going to go ahead and come to on. We're going to use low motor for start today, so I'll flip the ignition on. Put on our beacon lights so the ground crew know we're getting ready to start. And when we do start the aircraft up right here in this box, this is the NG. We're going to be looking for 14% before we introduce fuel. And then when we introduce the fuel, we'll bring the prop up as well. So let's go ahead and do that. So we got a low motor. So now our seats come through 5, now 6, now 8, now 9, now 10. There's 14. So bring it up to low idle. We'll bring that up to feather. Well, not to feather. The bottom notch. Now everything's coming up. We'll go ahead and push it all the way forward. You can see that prop starting to spin up. Then we look over here. And we're right at 52. And we've stabilized at 52. We stayed within the green arc on the ITT. So we're going to be good to go ahead and shut the low motor off and ignition. Go ahead, flip generator and alternator on so we are producing power. I'll get the avionics on and the auxiliary bus to start heating up the cabin. We'll turn our heat on. It will go off for takeoff. And we'll turn our pitot heats on. And just because we're icing up on the ground, I'm going to turn this on while we're sitting here, just doing everything we need to get done. Cabin lights can go to normal. And we'll back away. We'll get away from the terminal and set everything up. So let's give it a look around the aircraft. We got ground crew right there. And everything looks good on that side. Go ahead and release the parking brake. Get our taxi light turned on, and we'll go ahead and give it flaps 20. Give it just a little bit of power. And let's make sure everything's looking good still. Yeah. And now we'll go ahead, kick it to the right. We'll just get away from the FBO for in case someone else needs to come in. What we'll do is we'll actually just sit here on the taxiway directly in front of the FBO. But it makes it a little bit quieter, and if someone else needs to come in, they can come in to get services. We'll go ahead and park right here. The parking brake is set. I just want to set up our nav radios. I didn't get the chance to finish programming these earlier. Set that to the local VOR, and then to Boise. Actually, we don't want Boise, activate on both. I'm going to hear nav 1, nav 2 is good. Let's go ahead and get the local weather programmed in, which McCall, Idaho is, there it is. It's going to be 119.925. 119.925, and then we'll get guard turned on. Let's get COM 2 loaded up.
Kilo Mike Yankee Lima, automated weather observation 1600 Zulu. Wind 267 at 5. Visibility 10. Sky condition, ceiling 1,800 feet broken. Temperature -11 C, dew point 10 C, altimeter 2985. Kilo Mike Yankee Lima, automated weather observation 1600 Zulu. Wind 267 at 5. Visibility 10. Sky condition, ceiling 1,800 feet broken. Temperature -11 C, dew point 10 C, altimeter 2985. Kilo Mike Yankee Lima, automated weather observation 1600 Zulu. Wind 267 at 5. Visibility 10. Sky condition, ceiling 1,800
Alright,
feet broken.
so make sure that altimeter did change.
Dew point 10 C, altimeter 2985.
Okay, cool. Put that back to guard. We are tuned to the local traffic, and so I was just getting everything down here set up for us. I did put in a transponder code. We're not going to use the local ATC, but we'll go ahead and just have a code in there for simulation purposes. Looking at our reference speeds. I do have this cool app on my phone. Found it on like the Google Play Store. It is simply called Kodiak Perf, or Kodiak Performance, and you can put in all of your flight information, and it'll actually give you like V speeds and whatnot, which is pretty sweet. Let's see. So for takeoff, we're gonna have the bypass on, pitot heat on, air conditioning we're gonna turn off so we get a little bit extra performance, and we'll also turn the electric. Actually, we'll leave electric heat on. So rotation speed is going to be 60. So, our glide speed will be 97, it looks like. So rotation speed is 60. For the VX, I'm going to go ahead and use our takeoff configuration stall speed times 1.3, which is 78. So that's the speed I'm going to use. And then for VY, it gives us a VY, and that is going to be 96 knots. We got glide speed of 97, rotate at 60, which actually, just because of where we're at, I'm going to increase that up to 70, just so that way we can try and get a little bit steeper of a climb out of here. So bump that up to 70. Minimums, we don't have a minimum for takeoff, but we will have one for landing, so we'll leave that alone for now. We'll bring up nearest, that way we're aware of what's going on. For takeoff, we're going to be leaving off of runway 34, which I think realistically is not correct. I think you're supposed to depart 16, but I don't want the tailwind on takeoff. We'll just be mindful of the terrain. We'll do a visual takeoff. So 346 should be our heading. Go ahead, activate that up here. And we're going up to 14,000, which is already in the box. And we'll initially do a climb out of 500 until we get established on our speeds. Then nav's good. All that's looking good. Coming down here, we got trim set, and we just need rudder trim. We're right down here. We'll kick that out. Let's bring it in just a hair. Yep, we'll put it right there. And for those of you who are interested in our flight plan today, so here we are in McCall, Idaho. I wish this was a touchscreen, that'd be handy. So can we do this like a plan phase? Yeah, we can. Cool. Alright, so we're going to take off from McCall. We're actually going to depart runway 34. We'll have to circle back around and go to Tatey. And from Tatey, we'll go to, I think it'd be DSEP, which is right down here. We're going to go to Pep-Up, which is pretty much right over the lake. Then to Bangs, and Bangs will get us onto the airway to head down to Boise. Then from Boise, we're going to fly direct to REO Speedwagon here. I forget what town that is. And from there, we're going to pick up Rufus, which is just a waypoint along the way. Then I had to pick Ewoks when I saw it on the map. It has no real significance other than Ewoks from Star Wars. So that is in our flight plan. And then here is the parallel 42 scenery for Hogsback Ranch. It is 42H, well, Henry Bravo. And it is near Redding, California, if you kind of want more. It is dirt strips. We'll figure out where we're going to land at when we get there. And that airport's sitting right about 850 feet, so we'll try and come in at 1,300-ish and figure out how we're going to land. That is our flight plan for the day. Our map set up for relative terrain and NextRad, also with traffic. And so with that, let's go ahead and run through our checklist, make sure we got everything done. Oh, one thing we need to do is check the oxygen because we're going to be at 14,000 feet today. We got a full tank of oxygen. So parking brakes are set, flight controls are free and correct, which we'll go ahead and do that right now. So then left, right, up, down, left, right. I know we really couldn't see much. Well, let's see. We're not going to be able to see that aileron. Flight controls are free and correct. Flight instruments are checked and set. Trims are set. Bypass is on because it is negative 11 degrees centigrade. And we have visible moisture in the air. We're icing up on the ground, so we want it on bypass. We have electricals good. Everything's in the green. Power set to idle. Now before takeoff checklist going up to, we'll do everything short of turn on the landing lights and strobes. We have a parking brake on. Aux fuel pump is on still. Fuel selectors are green and green. Harnesses are locked. Fuel quantity is checked. Flaps are set to 20 and takeoff trim is set. Rudder trim is good. aileron trim we are not using. Bypass is on. Hedostatic is on. So with that, radios and avionics are set. Altimeter is set. Autopilot is configured. Transponder is on. So all we need to do is put our transponder onto altitude reporting. Bring fuel condition up to max. Our prop's already up to max. And then we're good for takeoff once we get our lights and transponder on. Let's go ahead and head out to the runway. Okay, so here we are at the end of the runway. We're once again down at runway 34 for takeoff. And so now we're going to go ahead and get everything finalized. So we got aux pump on, ignition off, starter is off, generator, alternator are on. Go ahead and flip the strobe. And for the landing lights, I like to use pulse, so we got pulse on. Just due to the fact we keep having icing issues on the ground, I don't know why the game is doing that. We're going to leave our bypass on and our de-icing equipment on. What we will do for better performance on takeoff is I'm actually going to turn off the air conditioning system, and I'll turn off that aux bus completely. That way we're not losing any power from having that on. Do a flap set to 20. We'll go ahead and bring this up to high idle and let that stabilize. Once again, flaps are set to 20. And then we got our heading turned on and our vertical speed, which I could have swore I already did this. I don't know what happened there. The vertical speed set to 500 feet per minute initially for takeoff, and our heading, which is set for 346, which is runway heading. Then coming up here, seatbelt. My seatbelt is locked, green, green, and locked. Doors are locked. I realized I forgot to lock this one, but we got that taken care of. And so, with that, we should be good to head on out. We are set to Unicom, and there is no traffic nearby. Cool, so let's roll on to the runway. Which, one thing I thought of, if you're looking for this scenery for McCall, Idaho, I don't know if you'll be able to find the one that I have. I originally got it off of flightsim.to a while back, but the developer of this scenery came over to Orbix and I guess reworked the scenery. I just, quite frankly, haven't wanted to pay to get a scenery that I already have. So I do not have the one that's available on Orbix. And I'll look and see if this scenery is still on flightsim.to, but I think I'll probably just have to link the Orbix scenery. So here we are, lined up on the runway. So for takeoff, I want us to get all of our power in before we start rolling. So I'm going to hold down the brakes and bring in the power. We'll get this brought up to about 600, just make sure it stabilizes. Okay, so we're actually about 700. Everything is stable. We'll go ahead and bring it up for maximum torque takeoff, which I think we should be able to go full power with the bypass on and not exceed our torque. There's max power. Torque screen, ITT is good, prop's good, and NG is good. So we'll go ahead and release the brake, get on the rudder because we need a lot of it, and start flying down the runway. So then we're going to rotate about 70 just so we have a little extra speed due to the altitude that we're at. Do about a 5-knot headwind, which is why I picked this runway over 3-4. There's 60 knots. And we're coming up on 70. I'll gently pull back on the stick. We are a bit heavy today. Get some rudder in there. Kind of maintain speed. We're not climbing too well. Alright, so we got one notch of flaps up, still maintaining 80. We just do not want to climb. There we go. Let's try not to go too far below 80. Speed. But now that we cleared those trees, I'll get the nose down a little bit as we approach 90, put those flaps up.
Don't sink.
And we want to climb about 115. Go ahead, get us turning to the right. And as we're coming up on 100, we can start pitching back a little bit more. There's our glide speed. This is a really pretty area. I'd actually really like to check this out. One day in real life, that'd be pretty cool. I'll maintain right about glide speed until we can get around this hill right here in front of us for in case we have any issues. No matter what, if we have any kind of engine failure, we're definitely going into the trees for this one. And we are very heavy today. I think we have about 80 pounds available in terms of payload. We are a very, very heavy aircraft today. Alright, so this should be pretty good. We're going to have a very slow climb out is how it looks. So I'm going to go ahead and work on getting the autopilot set back up. And turn it on, get yaw damper on. We're coming right up about 110. Set it to 400 and see how our speed looks. We're just a little bit more right rudder. So we're a little bit more coordinated. And we'll go ahead and bring the prop back to about 2,000 RPM. There's 120, so let's bring it up to 500, see what that does for our speed. And we're going to watch our torque. We're still climbing speed, so we'll give it another 100-foot boost. Props at 2020. Go back just a hair. See, you're climbing speed, so we'll give another 100, and we'll go ahead and bring the air conditioning back on now that we're climbing, because it is freezing in here. Oh, that says 71. I thought it said 7. Okay. 71's a little better. So I think that'll be just what we're going to have to climb at for right now. And let's go ahead and flip that to nav. And there we go. We got GPS locked, autopilot, yaw damper, vertical speed, looking 117 on the speed. Torque is good, ITT is good. Prop we need to bring back just a hair. And our NG is good. We just have to pay attention to that speed because we're probably going to lose it just because of how heavy we are. We are very heavy today. And we want to maintain right about 115. I definitely don't want to get too much slower than 110. So there's 110 and we're slowing up. So we're at 500. Okay, there we go. Now it's coming down. And there's 115 again. 116, 117, let's bump it up to 600 feet per minute. Check our altimeter, and we will also go ahead and switch over to Salt Lake Center so we can listen to any traffic that might be in the area. And then we'll go through our climb checklist. So we have verified our flaps are up, yaw damper is activated. Aux pump can now go to standby, and we're still going to run our anti-icing for now, just because we had that issues earlier, which let's check where our TKS fluid's at. We're at 13 gallons on TKS. Put that back down to 500. I'm going to go ahead and turn TKS off, and we'll see if we start developing icing. If we run into any icing, we'll go ahead and turn it back on. And we'll play it by ear because we've already used 3 gallons of TKS. Thanks to the game wanting us to ice up on the ground. Landing lights stay on for now, but we'll get taxi off. We don't need to turn oxygen on until we get above 12.5, so we can leave that off for right now. Let's see, we're still slowing down. Let's bump it to 4. And let's see, so Alright everyone, so as you can see, we finally came across some better weather. It only took most of the flight. Looking in here, we got about 120 miles left till we make it to Hogsback Ranch. I was looking over the VFR chart, and this ridge line we're flying over right back there topped at about 10,000. And coming up ahead of us right there, that lake, that, if I remember correctly, is the West Valley Reservoir. It's near the, well, I guess technically it's in the Goose South MOA, and we're outside of Kilo Alpha Alpha Tango. It's an airport, not exactly sure what airport. But yeah, so that's the West Valley Reservoir. And this section on the VFR map says the safe altitude is 10,300 feet. Looking forward, we got 7,700 feet, 83, 9,000. And then we'll get to the Whitmore MOA. And that MOA, those boxes vary between 10,000 and 9,000. The airport we want is kind of right on the hillside coming out of what I guess is actually a volcano, because it says it's the Lassen Volcanic National Park, which is inside that MOA. And coming in here, Ewoks, our next waypoint, from where we just came from at Rufus, pretty much flies us right above that volcano, which crests at 10,457 feet. Ewoks is just a little bit past it. That volcano is probably right at the 75 nautical mile ring. So as we get closer to that volcano, which I didn't even know there was a volcano along our route, kind of cool, that'll be neat. We're going to go ahead and deviate from our intended flight plan, and we'll just visually navigate around it. And so as we come up on the reservoir, which, where did it go? It's pretty much underneath us since I can't find it. Once we get to it, we're going to go ahead and begin our descent down to 10,000 feet, because, like I said, we'll be good up until we get to that volcano, and then we will just navigate around the volcano ourselves. That way we don't have to run the airplane up so high anymore. And you might have seen it, but we did forget to switch that back on, so we'll just pretend we left oxygen on the whole time. And that was on for the duration of the flight. But we are definitely out of the weather. I think we are good to get rid of our anti-ice. Worst case, we'll flip it back on. And we only got 4 gallons of TKS left. But we'll see how that holds up. So somewhere underneath us there should be a reservoir. And that looks like dark blue right there. So we're going to go ahead and use FLC again to bring us down to 10,000 foot. Or I guess 10,000 feet. We'll bring power back to about 800 foot-pounds. That'll get us pretty close. And we'll adjust this to be 130 knots. So now we're going down to 10,000 feet. And let's go ahead and take a look at what our app says we need to be at. So go into Kodiak Performance. I'll give you guys a pretty view while I mess around here for a second. So Kodiak Performance en route. We'll look at 10,000. Well, actually, let's change our outside air temperature real quick. It's negative 19 where we're at. 14,000. So for 10,000, it's going to estimate that will be at negative 11. And we are running 100% power at 2,000 RPM with the bypass on, air conditioning on. Our torque will want at about 1490. That works out pretty well. It's really pretty out here, actually. I'm so glad we're finally getting away from the weather. And we can actually see some cool stuff. And I am super excited to make it to Hogsback Ranch. Seattle Center. I don't know, I never turned to Oakland yet. We're getting real close to where we need to switch to Oakland Center. Which, here, you guys can look over there where I find Oakland Center again. I found it, and then I didn't write down, and so now I forgot it. Let's see, Oakland. Where's the little blue box? There it is. Oakland Center is 127.8. So let's see, com 1, 127. Let's roll that back down to 8. There's 127.8, and we will cross into Oakland Center. Somewhere there we are. There's Rufus. The Oakland Center line is, I'll put my finger on it so I don't lose it. So there's West Valley Reservoir. Pretty much right at the 41. So that's where we came from. Little peak at about 7,000 right beside us somewhere. I wonder if it's this guy. No, it's kind of a peak that stands off by itself. Oh, and the peak's going to be off to our right. 7,000 foot peak somewhere over there. Maybe that one? Either way, it looks like did we pass Moon Lake already? Oh, let's see. Moon Lake is on the other side of a peak. That's probably the peak, so that's probably Moon Lake right there. Having never been here and just guessing. So we still got maybe about 15 miles until we need to switch to Oakland Center. So maybe about 15 more miles. I think right when we come across the top of this is probably where we're going to want to switch. Oh wait, actually, so there's a little lake. Is there any other little lakes around here? Oh, there's another one. That one's kind of small. Okay. I don't have a good look at that one. Are there any more around here? Oh, this is hard. Sorry about that. Yeah, I think probably about this ridge right here is where we will want to go to Oakland Center. So that's what we're going to stick with. And now we can turn that off. And we're coming up on 10,000 feet, so we'll flip that to on and then pulse. I like the pulse lightings. I like that they flash back and forth. I think it helps with visibility, but what do I know? I'm just a guy on a computer talking to the internet. So as we start to level off here, I'll bring it up to 1100 for our torque. And we want to be about 1490 as we level off. That's what the phone app is telling us. And somewhere ahead of us is a volcano. I bet that is the volcano right before Ewoks, directly in our flight path, which I'm not sure where exactly. Oh wait, our path is that way. There is the volcano. Yep, that definitely looks like that is in our flight path. Oh, we didn't actually level off. My bad. I didn't get us far enough to the altitude, and then I just started applying power, so we started climbing. So we got our torque set. I know we said 1490, 1450 will be plenty for what we need to do. And I guess we'll go ahead and do a little bit of a channel update. Actually, hang on. Okay, I'm still recording. After I messed up on our departure, now I'm just kind of paranoid I'm somehow going to stop the recording again. So a little bit of an update. For those of you that are more frequent viewers of the channel, it has been a long time since my last video. I think it's been a little over a month. I know I made a video on Christmas. Well, I released a video on Christmas, and then before that, I'm not even sure when my last video was. Oh, it's been very eventful, you know. First of all, I had the holidays, so there's Christmas, there's New Year's. Then started going back to work after the holidays. I want to say it was the second week of January. I ended up going down to Texas, and I got my drone for work, so that's pretty cool. And you know, just been busy with work. While I was in Texas though, I was doing really good at going to the gym every day. I was doing great. I lost some weight. I was eating healthy, and then I came back and I got my first tattoo, and then. You're not supposed to, I mean, it makes sense, but you're not supposed to, like, go to the gym right after you get a new tattoo, because, you know, you might sweat and whatnot. Not good for it. So then I haven't been going to the gym, but then I've been filling that free time with doing just about anything else. And then I've been playing friends. That doesn't make any sense. I've been playing games with my friend. He has a YouTube channel. He's supposed to be posting some videos here soon. But I've been playing games with him, and then I actually switched from mid-shift to day shift, which that has just thrown my schedule off because, you know, I got to go to bed early. I usually do this in the middle of the night, and so I just don't have as much time as I used to have to get this done. So I am super excited to be here today. Over the last month and a half since I hung out with you wonderful people last, I picked up some new scenery, so we obviously got the Hogsback Ranch, which is where we are going to right now. I almost said Hogsmeade. This is not Harry Potter. So to the Hogsback Ranch, which is where we are en route to, and we've been traveling for the last couple of hours. I also picked up another Parallel 42 scenery. I want to say it was Cedar Mountain. I'll have to look, but I also picked up Las Vegas, and I picked up Seattle. And then I additionally got the Phoenix Simulations A320. I don't know if that'll make an appearance on here. I still really got to learn it, and airliners aren't really my thing. I want to try and, I guess, learn them, get better at them. As you guys know, I really like GA. I actually have been flying a lot of the Lockheed Constellation. I was hoping to do a Lockheed Constellation video for this, but I don't want to come on here and make myself look like an idiot for the whole internet to see, so I'm not confident enough yet with the Constellation to really fly it for you guys. I have been flying the, I can't remember who made it. Was it, I think it was Wing something. But the Boeing 247, I have been doing a little bit of flying in that, because there's this cool mod on the TO where they're actually recreating some of the old airmail routes, and one of them goes from Salt Lake City up to Spokane. Yeah, I think it goes Salt Lake City to Spokane. They have another one that goes from Portland over to Pasco, and they also have one from either Seattle or Tacoma down like to Portland. And I would love to fly that 247, follow in all the little air beacons, kind of like they would have done back in the day when airmail was a lot bigger. And I think that would be a pretty cool video to have with you guys, especially leaving Portland, heading out towards Pasco, because they follow pretty much the canyon that just goes down that northern part of Oregon State and I guess the southern part of Washington State. So maybe we'll see a video on that. I do need to get back. I actually tried to do a video in the Piper Arrow. I was going to leave, I want to say we were last in Eugene. If it wasn't Eugene, it was in Medford. And I was going to take that up to Tillamook because, you know, I thought it'd be great. You know, we can stop at the Tillamook Creamery. We're not too far from, I know it, you know, the big museum, white and green 737, the Spruce Goose is there. I can't think of the name of it right now. But we're not too far from there, so it'd be kind of cool to stop at the Arrow as we bring it back to Montana. But I went to go load it up in Tillamook just to make sure the scenery was working, which is what I should have done with this, because we're going to get here and find out if there is or isn't an airport. I could have installed something wrong, especially because I'm now using an external hard drive for a lot of my stuff. But the game recognizes it on the GPS, so hopefully it works. Worst case, there is Reading. So worst case, we'll just go from here to there. And when I went to load into Tillamook in the Arrow, the game just froze. Wouldn't load. I waited probably close to 15 minutes before I just, you know, Control Delete Task Manager force close the game. And then when I restarted the game to try and do it again, it asked me if I want to go into safe mode, as if the game had crashed. And I didn't want to go into safe mode, so we canceled that. I don't know if that's a Tillamook issue or if that's a Piper Arrow issue, because I know the Arrow is on my external hard drive and I haven't tested it since I moved it. So it could be something on my end. I might need to put it back on the actual hard drive of the computer. Otherwise, none of my sceneries have had issues. So I'm really not sure what happened there, but I was going to do an Arrow flight. There's still my long promised 3 or 4 part series in the unnamed aircraft that is on the list of things to do still. But once again, we're looking at like 5 to 6 hour flights for each segment. And I really just need to find the time to actually get that done, which I don't have right now. Maybe in like 6 to 8 months I might have some free time, but we'll see what happens. Oh yeah, the other thing what happened why we were gone, I don't think I ever talked about it, but I had a 2017 Ford Fusion, and I think it was back in September, a deer ran into the side of it while I was driving and totaled it. So I lost that car, and it has been a mess dealing with the bank it was financed through, which I'm not going to trash on here. And then trying to get the title, because that was another mess, thanks to the state that I live in, and then the bank that I financed it through. That was a mess. I finally got that taken care of end of December, and I got my new car beginning of January. I had a second car that I'd been trying to sell, and I finally got it sold. So that was another thing that has been messing up my schedule, is, you know, buying car, selling car, dealing with insurance, dealing with the state, just trying to get everything figured out. But seem to have gotten, for the most part, everything figured out. And I guess as we're coming up on this volcano, what way are we going to want to deviate around it? Let's see, going to the left, so my left, which is that way. If we go that way, we got buildings. I see 6,900 feet, 6,800 feet. It'd probably be just like 3 or 4 miles from... I wish there was a measure feature on Sky Vector. Maybe there is, and I just don't know how to use it. Oh, did we ever tune to Oakland Center? I don't think we did. No, we did not. Alright, so now we're on Oakland Center. We should definitely be well within their area. Getting some nice turbulence from the hills here. So, obviously, we're bound to pretty much smack right there into the volcano. Let's see, if we shoot that way, we would be good. But what I'm thinking is we go ahead and deviate to the right and then come down. Because this peak over, I think it's going to be this guy right here. It might be this guy. Looking at the VFR map, is at 6,900 feet. So that peak, 10,400. We got another 10,040. Then we got like an 8,600, which is probably these. But yeah, this is probably the 6,900. And then coming around the backside this way, we got 6,700. We got a 4,000 foot pretty much on the backside of this mountain. And 3,100 back there. Our airport, which if we come in here, let's get this set up. Our airport is right up, it's not at 900 feet, I forget, it's like 847 I think. So we're going to go ahead and set our minimums to 1,300. No, we'll do 1,400 because I'm going to call it 900 feet just to be safe. We're going to set our minimums to get in at 1,400. Up there is 1,400. Now, if we look at our app, our wonderful app, and if we go to destination, scroll down to the bottom, the most recent, so the METAR from Reading as of 41 minutes ago says winds calm, 10 miles, visibility, clear skies, temperatures 3 degrees centigrade, and 0 degrees for the dew point. Altimeter is 2986, which, okay, a little different than what we got right now. So it's VFR as of 46 minutes ago. And so looking at our speeds, our VREF, which I'm going to put in as our VR, our VREF is 72 knots. Then what we do for VX is our landing configuration stall speed times 1.3, which is also 72. And then our VY will be, yeah, so that's our stall. So VX is our stall speed and landing configuration. I'll do our stall speed. So we'll do clean. I'm trying to remember what I normally do. I normally know what I'm doing here, but not thinking straight today. Probably because it's past my bedtime. Oh, yep, I know what I do. Okay, so VX is actually our stall speed in the landing configuration, which is 43. So 43. And then VY is the 1.3 times our landing, which is 72. So we got a lot of 72s. Our glide speed is still 97. Air conditioning will be off for landing. We will do a full flap load. That's stuff I should have checked the first go around. None of our numbers changed though. That's good. And so VREF is 72. That's what we'll try and come in with. And yeah. So then what the app says is, oh, it's coming off of Reading because, yeah. Okay, yeah, so all that is set up. And so now we can go ahead and work on deviating from our flight plan because we're getting pretty close to this volcano. We're going to shoot that way, let's say about 260. Heading, oh, should have fixed that first. Let's try a 260. That should get us around the volcano here. Alright, everyone, so we are right about 10 miles out from the ranch. And let's see, it's going to be off to our right. I can't get a visual on it right now. It looks like we're going to be about 220 on the heading. About 220 heading, maybe a couple, let's do 225 just first. One correction. And let's see here. Thinking it's going to be in this general area. I'm almost thinking right there, but I'm not entirely sure. We got the weather information from Reading. Load up some more. At 130 we can drop in flaps 10, so we're going to go ahead and drop in the first notch of flaps just to help us get descending a little bit faster. And let's find the airport. I did not do very good in terms of descent planning. We can definitely dock my training records on that one. Yeah, I'm not seeing it yet. Pretty much right in front of us and to the left. I'm sure one of you guys watching at home is going to be like, I see it. Okay. I think it's that right there. I think that's it. And we're descending at 1,400 feet per minute. Since we are so close, let's go ahead and do our before landing. So we are going off pavement, so we're going to have bypass on. Pitot heats will stay on. No icing needed. Pumps are on. Green, locked and locked. I'll go ahead and, oh yeah, we got plenty of room to bring the prop up. Keep prop all the way up to full. And let's verify, make sure we're not missing anything. Once I cut off the autopilot, I'll disengage the yaw damper. And let's see. That's gotta be it. Just barely off the nose and to the left. That's gotta be our airport. Looks like winds are coming out of the right beside us right now. I want to go ahead and disengage autopilot and yaw down. Let's see. Bring power back just some more, that way we don't overspeed our flaps. Let's break off to the left. That way we can get a little bit better view of where I think the airport is. Let go of the throttle too much. And looking out here, I should be able to pick up on, looks like the, oh yeah, there's definitely a gravel runway right there. And we should see the ranch house. Oh, yep, I see it right there. Yep, coming right off our A-pillar. There's our runway. So we got a 7-knot wind, so this is the runway we will want, is going this way right here. Coming up on 2,400 feet, which is where I told the airplane to fly us into, well, the autopilot to fly us into. We're gonna just kind of do an overfly the area. So here is, well, it looks like we're actually coming into a calm wind type situation. Wow, that is a nice looking ranch. Oh, and we got some turbulence from the valley here. Oh, this scenery looks great. We're coming up on our minimums, which is 1,300. And ooh, that's going to be tight. That's going to be very, very tight. So there's 1,300.
500.
Yep. Go ahead, go flaps 20. We already got good speed, so now we just need to get ourselves established. And just so that we get a little bit more power, I'm going to go ahead and kill the aux bus so we're not using so much power for air conditioning. Get ourselves
500.
some more rudder. We were, for the most part, stabilized. So that is also a runway that we can use and we might take advantage of. It's
500.
definitely not maintained. But just for in case, I don't think we're going to be able to make that other one. We're not going to eliminate that unmaintained option as an option. The gravel strip is definitely much better maintained. It's in a lot better condition. So as we turn final here, we're going to go ahead and give the last notch of flaps. And we, just because of how short this runway is, we want to make sure we do everything perfect. If we don't like it, I can't remember who sings the song, but we can always go around. We definitely don't want to crash our happy little airplane. That would not make for a very good ending to this flight.
500.
And also, we probably wouldn't get paid because we wouldn't have any customers. And this is our only airplane, so definitely don't want to crash it. Alright, so we got full flaps.
500.
Aux pump is on. And we need to start slowing up if we want any chance of making this. And we're going to need to go full reverse. Alright, so we're coming up on VREF. Oh, this is going to be close. This looks so short. We're sinking. Okay. Watch out for the fence. And the trees. For the fence. Ooh, that was rough. Alright. That was not a soft landing, but we made it. Well, let's make sure we're going to get very close to that tree. I already know it. Definitely could have been softer. That was a carrier landing if we've ever had a carrier landing on this channel. Now, this is tight. There's not a lot of room for us here. Let's bring that back down to low idle. And now that we are on the ground, so we got low idle. Hopefully, we're pretty much on our way to taxi. We'll go ahead and turn that off. Strobes. We can move the transponder to on. Fuel pump can go off. And we can bring the flaps up. Give ourselves a little bit of power. And we can turn these off. Keep the bypass on because we are clearly off pavement. This is going to be an interesting takeoff, that's for sure. We're going to probably need every ounce of runway we can get when we go to take off. Let's see, so where are we going to park? I don't think we're going to fit in there very well, but we should be able to fit between these it's like bushes on the right here. That was tight. I'm glad we didn't crash, but man, did we come in hard. But I guess that's bush flying, right? Sometimes you just got to get her in. We'll definitely want to make sure we didn't nick the prop, though. Although the engine's still turning, I don't think we nicked the prop anywhere. Oh, we need a little bit more power. Come on. Come on. Just a little bit more. We're on a grade. And let's turn it in. think right there will do pretty good. So parking brake, and we'll bring our seat back down. So coming in for the shutdown and securing, parking brake is set. Air conditioning is off, which actually, before, other than just shutting it down, we'll go ahead and physically turn the air conditioning off. Air conditioning is set to off. Octopus is off. We are in idle. Now we'll bring the prop back down to feather. And now we need the engine to stabilize for a minute. We also want to go ahead and turn the generator and alternator off. And we are looking for ITT to stabilize for 1 minute, so it's at 5:38 and it is stable. So let's come into our timer and start it. So then we can go through the rest of the checklist. Oxygen supply is off. Avionics, we can go ahead and flip to off. Then lights. So lights, we can turn taxi light off. We need our nav and beacon on. Bypass stays on. Cabin lights can go to off. And while we're waiting, we'll go ahead and delete our flight plan. That way it's not in here when we're ready to take off again. Let's check what we landed with for our final fuel. So we got about 1,060 pounds total. That should get us back to Boise. If not, we'll have to make an intermediate stop somewhere. And we got about 10 seconds left. So there's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, stop. And now we can bring the fuel condition to cutoff as we listen to the engine shut down. Open up the window, open up the door, and now we just gotta wait for the prop to stop. Prop stop. We'll leave the nav and beacon on, kill the power, and let's go ahead and get that back door open, and I'll see you guys once we unload the airplane. Alright everyone, so we got everything unloaded. I did a walk around, and fortunately for us, the only thing damaged in that carrier landing was our ego. But passengers didn't care. They said we did a great job and that we got them here way faster than anyone else could. But that's all we can really ask for. You know, we went through rain, we went through snow, finally got this beautiful weather, and then just absolutely smacked into the ground. But plane's okay, people are okay, everything got here on time, and they said they will use our services again. So we are just enjoying some lunch. Behind us, as you can probably hear, are some horses. They also have a hangar of their own here. So we're going to hang out for a little bit, wait for dispatch to tell us where we're going to next, and maybe, if they'll give us permission, maybe we'll fly the drone around, get some cool pictures of the area, maybe some videos to throw in here, and I will see you guys next time.